So my title is The Power of the Grateful Dead. Imagine a band not having a single hit song but still being able to sell out stadiums and arenas for decades, drawing fans to follow them around the country night after night. The Grateful Dead was a band formed in the 1960s who defied musical norms. Even though they never had a radio hit, they were one of the most successful touring bands in history. In this paper, I will explore the innovative ways the Grateful Dead approached music, live performances, and the culture surrounding their fans, also known as Deadheads. According to the documentary Box of Rain, Grateful Dead fans were motivated by nonviolence and kindness, and the atmosphere they created felt like being part of the big family, who would go to lengths to provide for each other and help each other out, even going as far as giving away extra tickets to people who couldn't get one before they sold out. It illustrated how the Grateful Dead created such a devoted fan base. These fans built a community revolved around acceptance and selflessness. These fans would follow the band around the country and make a living by selling food and homemade goods they made themselves, such as t-shirts, bracelets, and other products. They would sell these products outside of concerts. People would camp out outside these shows and live in their car and hang out all together before the shows. After the shows, people would come together and play all these different instruments together, dance, and have a wonderful time just being present and in the moment. People also chose to follow the band around the country because their concerts had a sense of uniqueness. They never had a set list, and the crowd never knew what song they would play before entering the show. And even during the shows, they would try to guess what song the band would play next. They would play notes together until someone picked a song and started playing it, and then the other members of the band would go along with it. They decided on the spot what songs to play. The band had a balance between predictability and surprise. The fans never knew what songs they were going to play, but the fans would guess from the first few notes. And this balance is what fans liked about their live performances. It, quote, strikes the balance between predictability and surprise. Too predictable and we're bored. Too surprising and it puts us off balance because we can't get a foothold on what comes next. The Deadheads, as well as the band, was also was big on accessibility for people with disabilities such as being deaf. They would have different sections at their shows, and one of them would be for people who have hearing problems. This section was close to the stage, and people would have balloons and would hold on to them close to their chest to be able to feel the vibrations in their body through the balloon. They also had a taping section. The Grateful Dead was one of the first bands to encourage the audio and visual recording of their concerts. This allowed more people to hear the music and view concerts if they could not attend themselves. The Deadheads, The Deadheads would tape these shows and trade them at concerts for things they needed, such as food. Mickey Hart spent most of his career outside the Grateful Dead studying the different vibrations. He performed drums in space where he played around with different vibrations on different instruments. This was more than just a percussion show. It was a carefully crafted experience that engaged the audience physically by interacting with the body's natural rhythms/vibrations. Many people, such as my professor, who is a die-hard Deadhead, have stated while listening to this they were taken to places in their mind and the whole experience was illuminating and very enjoyable. Our bodies are 70% water, and when Mickey played these vibrations and drums, the audience could feel it in their mind and body because the vibrations are interacting with the water in your body, creating patterns and rhythms. Another reason people were attracted to the Grateful Dead concert is because music can be used as a therapy for physical pain. People came to the concerts to dance, and when they did, the pain in their bodies subdued. Quote, there is a small amount of evidence that dancing also provides pain relief using similar mechanisms, and it makes sense. Dancing is done to music, and it also involves movement, which is healthy in itself. We often have trouble moving through the pain, but once we get started, depending on the type and source of the pain, movement can be greatly beneficial, end quote. The act of listening to music releases endorphins, the body's natural painkiller, as well as causes a distraction for your mind, directing your mind to the music instead of the pain you feel in your body. According to Levitin, distraction is one of the most effective ways to alleviate pain. People with Parkinson's disease have also felt the benefits of music therapy. The book, I Heard There Was a Secret Chord by Daniel J. Levitin gave an example of this. A man named Bobby who was performing a show, but he was not feeling up to it. He felt sick and very tired. However, he quotes, When I got on the stage and started singing, something miraculous happened. I was suddenly filled with energy. I played the whole show, 2 hours, and I felt great for the next few days. The music had somehow changed everything, and I felt 80% better after the show. This is solid proof that music heals people, and music therapy is a fantastic way to cure pain for a short amount of time. Another notable example of the Grateful Dead music curing pain is my professor, Dr. Garland. She's been struggling with pain in her body for quite some time due to surgery she's had in the past, and she claims when she either attends the band's concerts or listens to their music in her free time that the pain in her body disappears, and she can move around and dance freely without pain. When we hosted our Dead & Co. concert in the classroom, I was very sore from practice and lifting that week. When we were playing the instruments and listening to the concert, the pain in my body was not nearly as bad as it was before. Even though it was not typically music I would listen to, it created a distraction in my mind and put my focus on something else. Drugs also played a big part in the culture and community surrounding the Grateful Dead and the fans. During the time that the Grateful Dead was most popular, drugs such as marijuana and psychedelics were being experimented with. Weed was extremely popular among the Deadheads as long as LSD. People felt when on these drugs that they had a deeper connection with the music as well as the people around them. According to the documentary Long Strange Trip, the band also used LSD when they created music to make unique melodies and rhythms. The Grateful Dead was also not mainstream, and it was only people who loved the music and the community they created. So people felt safe and comfortable at these concerts to express themselves. The Grateful Dead was a band that didn't play at these shows for money, but to give people a place where they could be themselves. They were big on marketing. They didn't care to be rich or live in mansions, but they treated their audience as partners rather than an audience. They wanted to create memories and have fun. People came to these shows because it was never the same, and they could always create new memories. And hearing music you have heard in the past can bring up memories they may have forgotten. Quote, Hearing the song can open a floodgate of memories about where you were, who you were with, or what it felt like to be 16 years old again. The Grateful Dead defined music norms in the industry and created a welcoming and accepting environment for all people through their generations of fans. They had the most loyal fan base in history while not being part of the mainstream music media. They have the highest record of concert sales in American history without having a single hit song. They created an environment based on kindness and nonviolence that will go down in history, and people will always wonder, how did they do it? Nobody will ever have a set stone answer for how they accomplished so much on their own. However, being part of their fan base and experience all they did was priceless. The Grateful Dead was not just a band, it was a movement for inclusivity and to define the mainstream music industry.
Yay!